Okay guys, let's jump into this install. So the first thing we're gonna do is put the bracket on the screen. I've done that already. It's really simple. You put the bracket up, you line up these 4 holes here. You've got your little screwdriver, put the 4 screws in, tighten that in place. So if you can see that, it's just 4 little screws. You mount the bracket, it's good to go. So for now, let's put this up here. We'll get to putting that on the dash in a minute. But the next thing we're gonna do is connect the wiring harness to the fuse panel and then run this USB-C up to the screen. Before we do that, there's a couple options. So this is the way to wire it in permanently. This is what comes with the kit. We recommend that. We did have questions. If you do have the under dash cigarette lighter power outlet down under here, yes, you can put an adapter in there, use your own USB-C cord and run power up to the dash. That's perfectly fine. So we're gonna put this in and show you how to do it. The tools that we're gonna use today, pretty simple. We've got a T20 bit, which comes with the kit. We've got a socket here, 13 millimeter socket and extension. You're gonna use that to put this 13 millimeter nut on the ground strap for the power cord. I've got some wire snips. You can use scissors or anything to cut zip ties. And we're gonna use a couple screwdrivers, which I don't have shown here, when we put the dash with the screen. So the first thing we're gonna do is get the T20, and we're gonna go right up under here. We'll change camera views, but there's a small access panel in the driver's footwell right above the left foot. There's only one T20 screw that holds that in there. It's right about here. We'll switch camera angles and we'll just unscrew that screw. And then this panel literally just pops down. It's got a clip, you just pull it down, and then you can access the fuse panel up there. So up here, this is the panel. There's one screw, it's a T20, it's right here. So we're gonna put this in and then just unscrew this T20. And now this panel, if you just get your fingers in here, it'll pop right down, okay? So just pull it down here and get it out of the way. You don't have to take it completely off. Straight back in, there's gonna be a ground stud. And when we put our ground strap, which is this, we're gonna put our ground strap right on that stud. And then we're gonna put this nut on it, tighten it down. This nut comes with the kit, and you'll put that right in there. We're gonna take the power wire, which has the fuse in it. We're gonna put that in the proper location in the fuse panel. After we pull a fuse out, which goes back into this tap right here, and then we'll put this in. So once you've identified the fuse that we just showed you, you're gonna take this little tool and you're gonna connect it to the fuse like this, just clips on, and then you pinch and pull out, okay? It's kind of hard to get these out. So once again, once you see this fuse that we've identified, take the tool, just clip it over the fuse when it's still in the panel, you pinch and you pull it out. This little tool makes it that much easier. Now we take this fuse and we take our tap and we plug the fuse in to the tap. Just press it in place like that. Okay. Then we're going to take this tap and push this back into the fuse panel where we took the original fuse out. All right, so we're going to go back underneath. We're going to put this in place, and then we'll show you a picture of what that looks like. Now the next step is going to be to install the ground strap wire, and it's going to go right on this stud that we've highlighted. You just press it right onto the stud, and then you take the 13 millimeter socket and tighten down the nut that we've provided to secure it to the stud. Now that the power is connected to the fuse panel, the ground strap's installed, you can see a little blue light. That's good. That means that we've got this wired up. For now, we're just gonna let it dangle down here, and we're gonna switch to putting the screen on the dash. And then once the screen is on the dash where we like it, then we'll route all the wires, tuck it back up in here, use some zip ties to keep it clean, put this panel back up and you're done. So let's move over to the screen. Now that we've got the wires connected, let's go ahead and put the screen up on the dash. This is one of the coolest parts of this kit, is this mount that we've designed attaches just by geometry. It locks in place because of the geometric shape and the shape of the dash. There's no cutting, no drilling, no taping. Okay, let's focus on the dash. So this dash panel here is just clipped in place, and it's pretty straightforward. You can see how I can just pry that up with a finger. Okay, so I'm gonna go right in the middle here, and I'm gonna pry it up, and I'm just gonna stick a screwdriver in there like that so that I can easily pick this up a little bit. Okay, so you can see I can pick it up. I'm gonna move over to the side, put another screwdriver in, and I'm just gonna move this one over like this. So you can see I've got that lifted up, okay? Now, you can use a screwdriver to do this. You can get a friend in here to help, hold this up a little bit. It just makes it easier to slip this in place, but it's just gonna fit by way of geometry. So we're gonna slip this up in here, okay? And then I'm gonna twist it. And if you move around the back, you can look back here and see, I pulled my screwdrivers out. When it's installed right, the bracket will be flush with the front edge of the dash pad. So just like that, that's it. You can center it up, it just slides over, but that's it. It's stable, it's sturdy. If you ever want to take it out, you can pick this up, put your screwdriver in, and then reverse that and just pull it out. But that's pretty much it. So first thing I'm going to do now is take my power cord, plug this in. So let's power it up and make sure it turns on. Now we know everything looks good. We're powered up. We can get to mounting the power cord. I like to take this, let's run it underneath the dash and go around the side. And I'm gonna pull it tight and just tuck it in so that the corner of this factory screen and the dash is just kind of pinching that wire so that it keeps it there, okay? And then I tuck it behind the screen a little bit. And then we're gonna end up pulling it tight down here. And I'm gonna use zip ties to hold this in place. Okay, so you can route it however you want, but that's basically how I like to have it. You can see the cord a little bit up here and right here, not too bad. But let's go ahead and put some zip ties in place, come back around this side and I'll show you how we get the wires tucked up underneath the dash, and then we'll get into the screen setup. Now let's get some zip ties. First zip tie is going to be right down here. Okay, so we give you a couple of zip ties here, and you can see the wire is coming down. The first place I'm going to zip tie this is right up under the dash. Just loop the zip tie around right up in here and tie that in place. And then we'll tuck the rest of the wires in over here. Okay, now that we've come down the dash right here, I've used 3 zip ties. The first one is way back in the corner. There's a spot you can pull this through. It's like a little vent section in this bottom panel. So I pulled it down and zip tied it tight there. And then I wrapped it around the plastic. There's a metal clip in the middle here, which lines up with the clip on this panel. So I go right on top of that clip, zip tied it there, and that keeps it out of the way of the pedal. So zip tie it down, go around the pedals to this middle spot, and then I zip tied all the extra wire right here, right on top of this panel. And I'm just gonna take this panel, put it back in place, push it back up into its location, like that. Take my T20, the bolt we took out, the little screw, put this back in. Tighten it back up. Not super tight. And that's it. It's installed. Now let's go back up top and set it up. Okay, now that the dash is set up, everything's wired, let's get into the setup. So on the main screen, the first thing I'm gonna do is just go to phone link, and it's gonna tell you pair your iPhone using Bluetooth connection CarFlix 128E72. So I'm gonna go to my phone, Bluetooth, and there it is. I'm just gonna connect to that. Okay, it's gonna say pair, yes, I'm gonna pair. I'm not gonna do my contacts for now. Let's get it set up. So this takes a minute. I'm gonna say yes, use CarPlay. Just follow the prompts between the screens. Takes a minute to connect and boom, that's it. You're set up. So now we're connected to my phone. I can use, let's see, whatever apps we have in here. So Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, whatever your preference is, we can use in here. So just click on Waze and I can pick where I want to go. You can toggle the screen format where you have the navigation on one side or the app running over here and then your audio over here. So from an audio perspective, depends what I want to stream with. If I had Spotify, we could run Spotify on here, pick my music. Now let's go back to the main screen. So audio output, you're gonna have a couple options. You can play through the speaker of the device. You can play through CarPlay, which will route it right through Bluetooth directly to the Rivian automotive system. That's what we would recommend for the best audio. You can do auxiliary plug-in headsets on the side, or FM transmitter, which is, let's say you don't want to use Bluetooth to the Rivian for some reason. If you did an FM transmitter, you pick an FM channel. Let's say we'd pick 103. We'd have 103 on the FM transmitter, or 106. I would just simply tune into 106 on the Rivian, and then it would play. But we're gonna do CarPlay, okay? So it's gonna, let's go back to that. Click on CarPlay Auto, which is gonna be Bluetooth directly from my phone to the Rivian. Let's go ahead and first set the Rivian to Bluetooth. So it's gonna connect directly to my phone. And then I'm gonna go over here to Spotify and we're gonna play some Christmas music. It seems so long since I could say. And you can see now we're playing directly through the Rivian audio system. Back to navigation. Split screen. Got navigation over here. Playing music there. Okay, let's go back through some settings. So home screen, back to CarPlay, just toggle between the two. We've gone through the audio setup. Let's go into settings. Basically what you'd expect in here, you could control the dimming, set this however you want. Driving position, this would let you swap CarPlay menu from left to right. Language, English, but really whatever you want in here. Factory reset, let's say you want to start over with a new Rivian or a new phone, just reset it. Pretty straightforward in there. Dimming, quick button, you can get to it right here. Control this however you want. Bluetooth connection for the speaker. It's pretty straightforward, guys. Okay, if we want to play YouTube on here, first thing we need to do is switch it over to AirPlay. So right now we're in CarPlay. So to switch it over, the easiest thing to do is I'm gonna toggle airplane mode just to shut off my phone for a second. And then I'm gonna hold down the button up here, shut this down. We'll just reboot the power. This is probably the fastest way to get it to turn off CarPlay, and that'll let us switch over to AirPlay, which is gonna connect to my phone and let us play YouTube on the device. So let it reboot. I'm gonna leave my phone in airplane mode for now. So now when it reboots, it just says phone link, okay? So we'll go over here and we'll switch to AirPlay. Yes, confirm AirPlay. Now I'm gonna turn off airplane mode on my phone so these two devices can reconnect. So on my phone, I'm gonna go over here to screen mirroring. See how I did that again? I went to settings, push these two screens, screen mirroring, smart screen. There you go. Okay, now the screen is mirroring. We're gonna go back to YouTube, pick a video. Make sure you have a good internet connection. And that's it. So when you're charging, you can watch YouTube up on the screen. Due to licensing issues with Netflix, HBO, that kind of stuff, you can't watch that, but you can do YouTube on the screen. Okay, and then if you want to go back to CarPlay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to airplane mode to disconnect my phone from the device, which will let us switch back. Fastest way to do it is just reset the device, shut it down. Then we're going to reboot the device. Okay, I'm going to go to phone link, switch back to Apple CarPlay, turn off airplane mode. Takes a minute to reconnect and you're back on. So that's going to do it. That gets you started on the Team 1 EV CarPlay screen for your Rivian R1S. Similar setup for Android Auto. If you like this, leave a comment below. If you have questions, reach out to us and let us know. Hopefully you enjoy your screen. Take care, guys. Make sure you subscribe for more Rivian content coming your way.